One of the things that is so popular right now, I see it all the time on Etsy, on Instagram, on Pinterest, is hand lettering. Little signs that you can hang up in your studio, in your kitchen, something to inspire you. And I wanted to show you how to make one of your own. And I have here a simple phrase, life is good, with some flowers and some whimsical flair. And I wanted to say that if you're at all nervous about hand lettering, one of the tricks that I use is I like to do a rough draft. I just grab a scrap of paper, sketch out the quote, make sure how I'm going to have the words fit together, and you can see I have the finished one here. And another thing you can do for practice is I have a little alphabet here where I've practiced different styles, explored all my different pens, you know, to see what I like. It's a good reference tool. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about shadowing, because it's one of the things that makes such a big impact. So I've created a little test sheet here so I can show you the 4 different kinds of shadows. So shadows can be on the left and the bottom. They can be on the right and the bottom. They can be on the right and the top, or they can be on the left and the top. So basically what you see here is a shadow always has to be essentially in an L shape. The 2 sides have to connect. It can't ever be like left and right or top and bottom. So what does that mean for a letter form? Well, I have a bunch of L's written here and I wanted to show you. If I put a shadow on the left and the bottom, that's what it looks like. I can also put it on the bottom and the right. And so anywhere that's right on this letter, even if it's disconnected, right, this is right and this is to the right side, gets a shadow. And if I continue that idea and we do right and right, but then I can also just do the tops. So I get the top of the L along with the long part of the L there. And then again, the last shadow is going to be also again on the tops, but this time on the left. So if you just remember your little rule, and you might want to make yourself a little sheet like this that helps you, a kind of cheat sheet, then you'll always make perfect shadows every time. So let's get started with some lettering. So I'm going to use all of my favorite pens, and I'm going to go ahead and start out by writing out my first word. Now, one of the things that I like to do is use big, easy block letters. They're easy to make. And again, if you're at all nervous, go ahead with a pencil and sketch it in. If you're not, then just go ahead and be bold. No one will notice your little imperfections and mistakes. Like, see where this doesn't connect? Nobody's going to notice that, and there's plenty of time to fix it. So don't even think about it. Just have fun. Again, I think that creative time should be fun time. It should definitely not be stress time. Who wants to be stressed when you're supposed to be having fun? So I have the outline of my first word, and I'm going to go ahead and switch it up to a different kind of pen because I want my whole quote to feel very different. And here you go. Ooh, look at that glitter. I'm like a magpie. I love glitter. And I'm just using my own messy cursive writing to have that first initial bit done. And then I'm going to sketch in my last one. And I'm going to make these to fill this space, nice, huge, tall letters. So I'm just going big and bold. And this pen actually has 2 tones in it, which I think is really cool, right? It has that sort of dark blue, plus can you see the silver shadow that's in there too? It's kind of a neat effect. So there you go. I'm going big and bold. And the nice thing about this is no 2 hand letterings are ever going to be the same. So let's see. Now that I have my basics sketched out, what I want to do is start to decorate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to fatten up this little is here. And you know, you don't have to press really hard with these pens. They have a ballpoint tip, so it's not like you're going to ruin the tip or anything, but just, it's a nice gentle touch. I find sometimes that people will say after they do a lot of doodling that their hand hurts, and one of the tips is don't press so much. You don't have to use a lot of pressure. It's really just light little strokes. You should not be having a death grip on that pen. It should be nice and easy. So you can see that I can just color this around, spreading that glitter love absolutely everywhere. And the best part about this kind of glitter is it's not the kind that gets all over your face afterwards because it's all contained in the ink. I love that. So I would continue on in that way, but I want to get to some of the shadowing which we just talked about and show you exactly how that works. So on this big life, let's do this. So we're going to do our shadow on the top and the right. So I'm going to construct the shadow. There's the top. Can you see how that's the top? And this is the top. right? And now this is the right, and that's the right. And now I have my shadow in there, and I can draw some little lines to emphasize that shadow, just like that. Now, if you're at all nervous about putting it in, one of the things you can do is take like a fluorescent pen like this, and you can just sort of scribble in exactly that top shadow and that right shadow. And then you can switch back to the other pen that you would like, and you can go ahead in there, right? And then you can add that over that because it's nice and opaque, so you can do it and play around with it, and nobody will ever know which layer was added first and which layer was added second. I do want to tell you that I think it's important to mix around and play with your materials and not always do the same thing over and over. And look at that gold. So I'm doing a shadow in this one, again, on the right and the top, because you want to keep things consistent when it comes to your shadows so that the whole piece looks like there was a light source in the same area. So if we look at the finished one right here, you can see that I've kept the shadow consistent. It's top, right, and to the right, and here it is there. There's the top and the right, and there's the top and the right. And so that makes the whole thing seem like the light is coming from the same direction. And that's how you get a really nice, authentic look that's always going to be individually you and always a little bit of extra fun.